I've been going through some drama and going through some real hell right now at IRL. Now, I know that most people think that, Twitch streamers are multimillionaires that drive Lambos and just, have sex with Dark Magician Girl every night or something. Unfortunately, that is only a hobby accustomed for Team Samurai, sadly. But for me specifically, I'm just I'm the small business equivalent of Mr. Beast. It's a scaling spectrum of content creator. And so for anyone here who owns their house, which is actually pretty simple, by the way, because as a great man once said, if you're homeless, just buy a house. One of the worst things that can ever happen to you as a homeowner is anything water damage related. Boiler is pretty bad as well, which I guess in some way also contains water. I don't know what it is about water, man. Water just seems to be the biggest problematic house killer. And roof issues. And I guess like any infestations, like termites or something, all of these type of things like are really bad. It's an absolute nightmare. Rot, dampness, mold, worst things that could ever happen to a homeowner. And I'm not trying to justify landlordship or anything, but oh my god, dude. Sometimes I'm just like, God, what's the difference between renting from the bank and renting from a landlord? Seriously, at least I wouldn't have to deal with this myself. But anyway, so this is what happened. We had a big storm. Our roof is pretty old. When we bought this house, we bought this house in a complete mess and state. I've been completely stressed and feeling constant anxiety for like 2 years now, because this house is definitely not worth what we purchased it for, unfortunately. But thank you all for contributing and helping towards providing me with the dream job. We're getting through it, thankfully. But anyway, we did have some issues. And we had a storm, and so this part of the house here has been waterlogged. You own your home after 25 years? Yeah, you miss one payment, and it's down the toilet, so... but anyway, listen, again, obviously home ownership is better, but, if you bankrupt yourself in repairs, it's like, long-term, did it work out? I don't know, man. Grass is always greener. I just feel really bad these few days, because holy crap, this shit, it costed a lot of money. So anyway, thank you all who contributed to the fundraiser stream. So altogether, the roof is, it was just under 8,000 to fix a whole ass new roof and get all this done. So all of this has been, still needs to be dealt with internally. But here's where the drama came up. By the way, this was like 3 a.m. in the middle of the stream, the fundraiser stream. We had a storm just picked up and it was pissing down, and just imagine like a sink fountain, just water pouring into your home. That's what I dealt with at like 3 a.m. It was miserable. So yeah, that was annoying as hell. But anyway, here's where it gets crazy. So we got quoted for just under 8 grand. We put up altogether 5,400 partway through the cost. So that's been paid. Now, this is unreal. It turns out that the roofing company we were using is like a good, reputable, decent company. They gave us a pretty good price, especially given the emergency situation. And they got to work pretty quick. And other than, I don't know why they undertook work in the middle of a storm, because how else was water going to get in? Because they're working on a roof, and then overnight they leave the roof because they need to fix it in the morning to continue work, and it's just exposed, and then more water came in. So that was absurd decision making. Anyway, sequencing aside, hand trap usage not relevant right now. The insane thing about this was that the person we were dealing with, the individual that we were working with, who was representing the company, was the one who was our contact person. I never spoke to the owner. I never talked to the person responsible for the company, or like the manager or anything like that. Which, for those of you involved in the trade at some portion of your life, probably recognize that from a small business perspective, you do usually talk to like the manager, the owner, right? Because like they get very hands-on and direct with a lot of their jobs and projects. So I found it really sus that I never spoke to the manager person once. So anyway, this guy, we'll call him Steve. Steve is the guy that I was talking to the whole time. And he was sending me estimates and emails and invoices from an email account that was at iCloud. normally a company, a reputable company, uses, their own domain, like for example, triffgamingroofing.com or something, right? And then it's info at, dzstudies .co.uk or something, right? But this guy was sending me emails and invoices from an iCloud domain name. Now, I learned the hard way over the course of my building drama that occurred 2 years ago. And that was basically, when you're involved with trade people, don't give them money. Don't pay them. Don't pay them until you're happy. Obviously, deposit or something is reasonable or fair. I've made it a rule now that if your company is going to expect more than 50% of the money up front, or all of the money partway through or anything, nope. We're not working together. I ain't giving you any money till the job's finished and I'm satisfied. Any decent, good, reputable company follows that. So I wasn't giving them the rest of the money here. But then, this guy started sounding really desperate. Steve was like, came out to the house at like 4 a.m. to fix the emergency leak situation. And I was thinking to myself, okay, it's a pretty upstanding guy. He's pretty, he's trying his best to help out and stuff like that. And then it turns out what he was doing was he kept asking me for money to provide discounts. And I found that really suspicious. Because the rest of the bill is there was still technically $2,300 to pay at this point. And I'm saying, well, I'm not giving you any more money until you fix this, right? Because now you've caused internal damage in the house, right? Like the plasterboard is going to have to be redone. We're going to have to reseal the window. And he's just like, listen, this was last Friday. He contacts me and he says, if you give me $1,500 now, we'll call it quits. I'll send someone over. We'll take down the scaffolding. There's still scaffolding in my garden, by the way. Still hasn't been taken down. Well, I'll send out an electrician to check out the lights and make sure all of the damage and stuff in your house is dealt with, and then we'll get a painter and stuff to plaster up and fix all the damage like spotlights here. Yeah. And I was like, okay, that sounds like a pretty good deal. $1,500 up front today, and then it means I don't need to give the remaining $2,300. But then I was like, you know what? I'm not actually happy with that. I don't want to give you money until you're done with the job. You've gotten over $5,000 from me so far. That's a pretty fair number as a deposit to help out with the running costs, supplies, materials. I think you can do quite a decent amount with $5,000. I don't think you need any more, because the roof portion was already done at this point. The roof, the actual slates and the banisters, or what the battens, I think they're called, or whatever, the felt, all that is done. The roof is done at this point. I'm just wondering, why is he asking me for $1,500? I'm just like, no, actually, I'm not gonna pay that. Fix the job, sort out all the internal damage that was caused, and then I'll give you the rest of the money. Then I'll give you everything I owe you, discount or not. He was like, okay, fine. And then for the next 4 days, I'm getting ghosted. No one's coming out for the scaffolding. No one's coming out to fix the electrics. No one's he's not replying to my texts. I call, it rings out. I call on the weekend, it's turned off. I'm just like, I mean, I've paid over 50% of the value at this point. I guess technically, if I do the math where I have to fix the plastering, maybe some electrics, and seal up the skylight, and take down the scaffolding alone, I got a quote from a junk removal company. They said they can take down scaffolding for $200. I was actually surprised. I thought scaffolding would be more expensive to take down. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, I guess I'm getting a kind of good deal. They've done the hard part of the work, which was fixing the roof. I'm just like, okay, cool. Well, I mean, I called reception. I was like, hey, is anyone going to talk to me? He's like, oh, sorry, the owner's off just now. I'm just like, you're profiting from this? No, I'm not profiting from this. What do you mean? I'm down 5,000 at this point. There's no profit here. What are you talking about? Dude, you're the kind of guy who walks into Walmart on Black Friday, sees a $1,000 TV, and then says, oh my God, it's 50% off. I'm going to buy this TV. I saved 1,000. No, you didn't. You're down 1,000. That's not how that works. That's not profit. Anyway, so after being ghosted for 4 days, suddenly, yesterday, I think it was it yesterday? Yes, yesterday evening, the guy phones me, and he's like, oh, sorry, listen, I've had some personal issues. things have been messed up. You know, we've had a lot of issues with like emergency projects and stuff like that. And by the way, I'm still talking to Steve at this point. I'm not talking to the manager. So I'm just like, okay, sure, whatever. Shit happens. When are you gonna fix this? How can you get this done? And he's like, look, we'll get all of this done. I'll send out the electrician tomorrow. The painter, decorator will come out and give you a quote. Or not even give a quote, because they were going to eat the cost of, like, the internal damage. I was like, okay, cool. All right. And then he was like, for you, if you give me £500 right now, I'll get this all sorted for you tomorrow. I'm just like, you've ghosted me for 4 days. I haven't heard a word from your company. You want me to give you more money now to do the job that you should have done 4 days ago? No, I'm not doing that. And he's like, listen, look, fine. It's just that, you know, we've had a lot of problems. There's been some issues with the storm and stuff like that. 300, I'll come up to him. I'm just like, and I just say straight up, dude, I'm not giving you another penny until you finish this job. No, you've gotten 5,000 from me. There's more than enough to work out what you currently need to work through. Fix everything that you said you'd fix. Then I'll give you the rest of the money. And he's like, okay, fine. All right. This is the schedule. We'll come out tomorrow. 20 minutes later, the manager, the owner, the company owner calls me. And he's like, hey, so, yeah, this is the first time I've heard about your job. This was the first time he had even heard of this project. I didn't know that you had people out here. I don't know anyone was working on your I'm just like, who have I been talking to? Well, it turns out Steve was botching a bunch of jobs and taking up like work through himself on behalf, like he is an employee technically of the company, but he was sort of like working independently, like trying to like do his own work, like his own jobs type thing through a company. Like he was an employee. But anyway, then he calls me up and he's just like, yeah, you should block his number and don't interact with him. And I'm just like, this guy asked me for 1,500 the other day. And he's like, yeah, don't do that. What? That's insane. So, oh my God. Anyway, so, thankfully, it actually worked out really nicely. Because the amount of money that I've paid, that this whole job is going to cost me now, is pretty much everything that I earned during the 24-hour stream. I mean, it's a little bit shy off of it, but thankfully it's not going to be 8 grand. It's going to be like, how much? I've paid 5,400 fixing all of this stuff internally. Like there's like a giant like gap in the seal now that needs to be like filled in with like PVC or like expanding foam. The plasterboard needs like, I don't think you can fill this with plaster. It's too big of a gap. They're probably gonna have to cut out a section, fill this up, get it painted. Like this, fixing this internal damage might just be like 500 in itself. So altogether, I'm probably spending like 6,000 on this whole thing, which, I mean, I don't know, man. I guess, like, worst case scenario, it could be worse. Like, sometimes fixing roofs and stuff can be, like, 5 digits, like, 10K, like, I don't know, man. But anyway, you get to keep the scaffolding. Yeah, currently the scaffolding's still in my garden. Hopefully, so he's promised they'll be here on Thursday morning to do it. This is the owner I'm talking to, not Steve anymore. So anyway, that's the drama. That's what occurred. TLDR, some guy was trying to subcontract work from his own employer. Like, that is insane. Like, he's outsourcing his own work through his own company that it's unbelievable. It's actually insane. So anyway, yeah. I don't know what's going on. Like, he seemed really nice. Guy's got kids and shit. I hope he's okay, but this is kind of scummy stuff. I don't know. Like, maybe he's got, like, a gambling addiction. He's got some debts that he really has to pay ASAP. I don't know. Like, I've never heard someone desperately try and get money like this. It's crazy. What about the money you've already given to Steve? Well, that money was given to the actual company account. So, you know, altogether, I've quote-unquote saved, like, the, you know, TV example I gave from Walmart, like maybe like 2K or something, because the initial quote was 54, but they wanted 25 extra, and I was wondering, why do you need that much extra? And it's like, oh, we found some internal like damage because like inside of this space here there was like, you know, some like rot and shit like that they had to clean out. I'm just like, 2,300 just to like destroy and rip out something, like that's like a day of labor. It's like 25. That sounds like a lot of money just for like essentially manual labor of pulling things out and throwing it away. But anyway, So it's pretty much almost done and sorted, thankfully. But yeah. The trades industry is the worst industry on the planet. It is the most like stressful thing to deal with. There are so many sharks and snakes out there. But I mean, I don't know, dude. When you find a good electrician or a good joiner or something, someone you actually do trust, like it's like a blessing, because half that industry is just filled with sharks in the water, man. They're all trying to like one up and get like cut each other out and do like these quick, easy, simple jobs and cut corners, and oh my god, dude, it's stressful. It's so stressful. So yeah, get yourselves multiple quotes before committing to a single company, and make sure you vet and check every review. Anyway, that's the roof drama.